Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Violet.
And I'm Ruby.
And today we're taking a look at a game called Lands of Galzyr. Now, Lands of Galzyr is a game already reviewed on this channel by Mike and Z and co. And they all thought it was absolutely fantastic. I had not a chance to play it. I have some mixed thoughts on games from this company, Snowdale Design, but I did like their deck building game. And I heard this was a storytelling game, and we tend to like storytelling games in the Vasel household. So we gave this one a whirl. I'm not going to go over how to play the game here because Mike has already done that in his video. We'll put a link to that video in the description of this if you want to see the mechanisms. But in real short, you are simply moving around and finding stories that are on an app. Not an app, I guess it's a website, but you can download the website and play them. You make choices. You roll dice to see what happens with your choices. And you move on. That's the game, right? And you can play cooperatively or competitively, and it really doesn't matter. It's the game. I've never seen such a small, minor difference.
I mean, maybe it'd be a bigger difference if there was like more players playing with us, because then we might actually run into each other.
Sure, you're right. When you're just playing with a few people, you're not going to cross each other on the map as much. What did you think of the lands, the lore, the animal people?
I still have like lost track of what each animal race is. Like, it's just really hard to tell because what were the animal races again?
There's like 30 of them. There's gorillas and marsetts and ocelots and well, you run across. Remember, there was a gorilla and she had to take the key from the gorilla.
There was?
Oh, I'm glad that story was memorable. But there's all different animals. But I mean, I was just saying names after name after name. I got kind of confused sometimes because every animal has a different name. Hit all these characters you meet, and unless it's a character who's memorable, like a jerky prince, it's easy to forget what all the characters.
First of all,
I thought
he was really rude in the beginning, and then acted like we were old-time friends just because I helped him out once.
So
you cannot switch up like that. It's not fair.
For me, it's kind of a weird land in the sense that there's gorillas and then there's raccoons, and I'm sorry, but a gorilla would beat up on a raccoon. Are they all the same size? I'm not really sure. But
well, it depends. Like, what if like a raccoon got a little knife and started stabbing at it, like running around the gorilla?
Yes, I still think the gorilla would win.
Okay, that depends.
Violet, that's like saying a human with a knife could defeat a gorilla.
No, raccoons are faster and more maneuverable than humans. What are you talking about? Also, a human could beat a gorilla, because otherwise, how on earth are we getting
Okay, we need to talk about the game now.
Okay, but what did you think of the stories that you came across?
The stories overall were good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed like the originality of each story. Instead of like sticking with our main story, you could do a bunch of other stories. Like Ruby kept doing the same story over and over again. Like
It was only twice.
And you failed both times.
No, she succeeded the second time. She just got, once again, captured. Okay, what did
I
you
didn't even need to get rid of it. I never even came across anything that... That's the thing about the cards.
So my favorite thing about this game, though, I think, is the tests. I think it's a really cool system where you roll dice, but you can replace them with colored dice, and if you get the exact color, there's doubles, but both of the side colors give you one. So it's kind of interesting on how you move your skills around.
I also like the cards and like all the multiple tags you can have. Like, oh, this story, you need to be good at climbing. Do you have any climbing cards? And it just like gives you a boost. Not like some minor boost that's completely useless, but like.
I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like the name tags like almost never came up.
It's because there's like so many, and you keep running into the wrong tests.
That's true. It's really hard to know what kind of test you're going to run into. You're like, oh, a climbing. Oh, I found a climbing card. Next time I have a climbing test, and then you never see a climbing test again. There's definitely a bit of that. So I played a game in the past called Tales of Arabian Nights, which I really enjoyed. You guys have never played that, but in that game you went around Arabian Nights, you found genies, they would turn you into all kinds of weird things, you get crippled and thrown into prison or lost. And this game does a little bit of that. You got lost once, and it's a whole thing to get unlost. You're terrible at finding direction, apparently, and she ended up on the other side of the map. We're still not sure how she portaled
in the city.
there. But for me, I like the game. It's fun, but it really... I don't know that you make any real meaningful choices in the game. Like, it's just kind of, you follow the story. You go in, you say, I'll do that story.
Well,
the
like-
story gives you 2 choices.
I'd like to say that the prince would probably be dead if it wasn't for me. So
No, I don't mean that, but I mean you're strategic. You don't have usually you don't sit there and think, ooh, which one will I do? You say, there's a yellow test or a green test. I'm better at the yellow test, so that's the one I'm going to do.
Yeah, unless I think there's actually something bad going to
Or I
happen,
have something
which
against the
there
character
almost
for, like,
never
the other
is,
test.
surprisingly. Like
Even,
Even-
for example, the prince. I was definitely going to be better if I actually tried searching for him or probably paying for stuff. But I decided, no, I'm going to test my luck so I can completely ignore him and somehow pass the test and didn't ignore him.
Sure, I get that, but I'm saying that usually you're better off picking the test that you're better at doing.
Yeah, even if you do the most vile thing to the other person and you succeed, it'll probably end up better for you.
The one choice that's almost always bad is saying,
No.
ignoring something. Hey, do you want a job? No, your turn's over.
Thanks.
Do you?
I didn't know that would happen. I thought something else would happen or something.
If you're going to play Lands of Galzyr, you need to be someone who loves story. And you need to be someone who loves story when someone else is doing it, because when they're doing the story, you're kind of just sitting there and waiting. And the stories are there's a lot of text in each one. You don't get a lot of turns over the course of a game, but you do get to go from game to game. So things that will happen, like you met that prince, he might show up again. You know?
Was he even that bad? You were the one
The
who
only
ditched
good thing
him.
about it is that he gave me something at the end.
What's so nice? He's in love with you.
Oh, my word, no.
Well, maybe he is. I don't know. Anyhow, so the story's there. The story's good. The rolling of the test is good. But I want to be clear, there's not a whole lot more in the game. When you won the game, did you think I played better than Violet? And when you won the game, did you think you played better than her?
She did.
Obviously, there was a way major point range.
The first game, there was a 1-point difference. Second game, there was an 8-point difference.
Yes, but it wasn't that Violet made smarter decisions. She just
Rolled
got
better.
and got lucky. But that is what the game is. You need to know that going in. You are playing just a big story here. So I'm curious, what are your final thoughts?
I do like story-based games, and while I probably dislike rolling dice even more after playing this game, the board is pretty, so 7.
A 7 out of 10? What about you?
I really like the art style and the differences in each story. I also liked how each path could mean something different. It was just really interesting to play, and I genuinely enjoyed it. So I would give it an 8.
All right. I'm also giving it an 8. I can't go higher than that because I really felt the story is fun and interesting, but it does blur together for me, some of it. The animals are not distinct enough as humans. They do their best. They have some good traits. There's some good stuff. Everything interlocks. There are major events that can happen over the board and change them. The components are great. The dice system's great. But at the end, it's a very, very pleasant story, which I think is fun. I don't want to play it all the time, but it's something that it's fun to get into and try out. So that is Lands of Galzyr. I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Violet.
And I'm Ruby. I looked at us the wrong.
I'm not mixing them up at all.